There's that. Oh, excellent. There's the red block that says we are back on Tuesday afternoon, April 7th, 2026 in House Transportation, and we are joined by the Chair of Senate Transportation today.
Used to be a table in this room.
It used to be a table. I hear rumors that somebody might have used to sit in this seat. They just
No.
changed
No,
it.
No, the chair sat on this end.
No.
No, I sat here. I sat here. Sonny Audette was there and Steve Howard was there.
Did he sit there?
I think originally for 1 year, you had.
And then we moved
And then
here.
Sonny
When
sat
you were
there.
here, I sat down here.
I do remember that because Sonny had a thing on the wall that
He
pulled
had it.
himself up. But anyway, I digress.
His stuff was falling off the desk.
Are you live or?
We are live, and that is all saved for posterity. We very much appreciate you hiking multiple levels of stairs to come join us this afternoon and give us your thoughts on the Senate's version of the miscellaneous motor vehicle bill, and if time allots, to talk about what you're up to with the transportation bill. We'll get to that. So welcome to committee. We're happy to have you.
Rich West, I'm the chair of Senate Transportation. I think I let your staff person know I'm not ready to talk about the T-bill. We've had the T-bill less than a week. And so we really haven't taken a lot of votes. We really haven't taken any votes yet, so. The miscellaneous bill, there's a number of small items I would, from my perspective, and I think our committee's perspective, probably the biggest thing within what we did was around vehicle inspections and reducing to more safety related items, the things that are inspected. And that's probably the thing that will most affect the public. And we spent a fair amount of time on that issue and sent over more or less a study to you in another bill to look at every other year inspections. But that is but far and away, I think, the thing in this that is the most impactful to the public. And there's a lot of small stuff in here, some of which we work very closely with your institution's committee on the corrections pieces and the licenses in the corrections piece, and we passed the same language that your House Committee on Institutions worked on. And as a side note, Alice and I entered the House the same year. So. And if you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer.
Well, Chairman, I was on
If
that.
I don't, Damien can.
On that first particular piece related to the part with corrections, the House bill that went over and then other version, I don't know if you, any idea yet whether we'll see its own bill as a standalone get through the Senate, or whether it'll ride?
I'm not really clear. The chair, as you know, the chair of institutions is her morning committee is transportation. So they looked at the language and worked on, so I'm not real clear what their plan is. The issue originally came and was an issue that came out of the MV and what they presented to us. So we started the issue and started the conversation. But I think basically the language that is in here, everybody's in agreement with.
Yeah, I think our thought process is just probably the most likely taken out of here because it's past postponements. And it moves forward, you know,
that
yeah,
it started here.
yeah.
And it was in the bill that was presented to us from DMV. And we put the chair of the House Institutions Committee in the chair, and we worked out basically language that we all agree.
You want to ask the question, Representative Pop?
Yeah, thanks for coming. I'm interested in the excessive noise, section 29, where it talks about motorcycles required to have the EPA appropriate, standard, I'll say standard muffler or approved muffler.
Yep.
Did you discuss the same with vehicles at all, or only with motorcycles?
This is already basically the rules at the federal level, and this was as far as we went.
Okay. Because I believe on the federal level, there's the same thing, EPA approved mufflers, which come, when you buy the car, and you can buy one, or you can buy one that's not approved. Okay, thanks.
Representative Case?
You're talking about mufflers with baffles in them on motorcycles, right? They're gonna have their baffles in them, right?
Mhm.
Can't be straight pipes.
Mhm.
But you can buy another pipe. It's a modified pipe, put it on as long as it has a baffle.
Mhm. Yeah, but this is federal rules.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward.
So,
Representative
I'm just curious, Senator, so with the inspections,
Yep.
so it looks like we're moving pretty quick here. So that means that by August 1, am I misreading this, that the new procedure would be in place? Is that
Yep,
what that
the
says?
DMV rewrote the manual. They came to us, and we were at, as I think this committee has said, we've both had bills that would move to every other year inspection. And DMV came to us. We had a hearing on both this and a public hearing both on this and on the 2-year inspection pieces. They said to us that meaning DMV, that they would like expedited rules to be able to do this, because it would be more than a year if they went to the regular process. So what this allows is expedited rules, so they can, and it is specifically on the rule changes that they brought to us, and we did publicize the rules, and we, as I said, had a hearing.
Right. Okay, so we'll have a new inspection manual here pretty quick.
And I think DMV said that their expectation is what that it will probably cut the manual about in half.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't gotten anywhere on that section yet, but I suspect we'll be spending some time.
I suspect you'll spend some time there, and as I said, we had a hearing, and no one said anything opposed.
Representative Wood?
Yeah, thank you, Senator. So I appreciate the work on inspections, because that seems to be something that so many people are concerned with. We spent a fair amount of time on the mileage-based user fee details, and the way we sent it over to you requires, an annual inspection for EVs, because that's part of the truing up process for figuring out how much an EV would pay for their mileage-based user fee. And, there's been conversations about how many, what percentage of cars in Vermont are actually inspected. Some people are not getting them inspected because of for various reasons, cost. So we've had some conversations in here about, we've got a mileage-based user fee, which is really requiring every fee to get inspected, and if you don't get your inspection and pay your MBUF, you will not be able to register your car. So just recognizing, we require inspections of all cars, but I don't think there's any, you can't re-register your car if you don't have your internal combustion engine car, if you don't have your inspection up to date. So just some conversation about, making sure that these are equal.
This wouldn't change the ability at inspection for them, for an inspection station to track your mileage for the inspection piece. They wouldn't change any of that. And quite frankly, part of the reason we sent over a separate bill to look at going to 2-year inspections is specifically because January 1st, we know that DMV is planning to use that. The other piece about inspections is that's where we do all our environmental work. And we have agreed to certain EPA environmental standards, and that's where we verify all those standards. That said, there are 15 states in the country that have every other year inspections that have found a way to meet the EPA requirements with that. Therein, in the other bill that you have from us, why we look to study that to move ahead. But at this point, we didn't feel like we could eliminate inspections and not work all that out. Across the river in New Hampshire, they went ahead and didn't do that. And I think that's why they might be in court for a little while. And that seems to some of us to be a rather expensive way to go when their attorney general's office is now fighting a case that the federal courts have said, no, you can't do it. So we took a little slower approach, and I have attempted to answer some of the concerns, but not all of them, with the people that would like to eliminate inspection.
Representative Pop?
Yeah, Senator, in the inspection piece, there's, for the changes, this would allow the department to not require a road test, which for inspections now, there's that requirement. I have a constituent who does this work, and it's really clear that this was really important, that you take the car out for a little test drive as part of the inspection process. Did you take any testimony on this? Because the way I read it, it says, hey, if the department wants to eliminate that, they can.
We didn't, I can't remember specifically having anybody in to testify about that in the hearing that we had. And granted, the hearings are a lot more limited, and we, I can't remember whether we allowed people 3 or 4 minutes. But we did have a couple of people at those hearings speak about that.
Mr. Chairman, on the water, the personal flotation devices,
Yes.
section 21. Representative Lally brought up an interesting comment today about ice racing or something like that. I don't know, those ice boats.
Ice
Things.
boats.
You ever familiar with that at all? They have these sail things that go zooming across the lake all winter.
No, I'm not, and um,
You're not a regular participant of racing?
no, no, you will see, the issue was brought up, in our committee, by someone that's a former member of this committee too.
Well, it's popular down there.
And there were no exemptions. We did add in, the exemption for, and an amendment that dealt with hunters. And, we added that language in. We specifically heard about duck hunters that, are sitting in, a couple feet of water, and so we did add an exemption in that, but no, the issue of, ice and, didn't come up.
Bow fishing, did that come up at all?
That did come up, and that's part of the reason bow fishing and duck hunters were the two that came up, and that's why we put the amendment that you will see that if you're in 3 feet of water and you're hunting,
It's not required.
it's not required. And we did hear a number of the sportsmen's groups.
I think there was 2 or 3 sections, maybe 2, that you guys deleted from the version that you received. One was the abstinent program. I forget the other one, but what was the rationale of not moving forward and list the abstinent? program?
And we did move out some language that was put forward around the purchase and use tax and the calculation of that. I would encourage you to take a look at that issue, and we were told that this had, by DMV, that this had no effect on revenues. And after the bill, after, we voted the bill out of committee, and joint fiscal came up with a pretty large number that said it had an effect. When we were told they couldn't tell us how many trailers were sold and how many trucks were sold under this, we took the language out. But there was some disagreement over total numbers between joint fiscal and DMV. It's a pretty simple bill.
It's got 30. How about K trucks? Is that what's called? K trucks? Okay. I thought it was already allowed.
Did you eat some of the cupcakes out front? And
Well, I don't usually miss it. But I did drive by. I didn't stop for very long. I thought that it was already allowed. If they were inspected, they could be registered and
that was very conflicting. We had at least one owner of a K truck that came in and went to a couple of different places. The first place told him he couldn't get it registered and inspected. He found someplace else in the state that would. So we thought that, and DMV had said to us that they weren't. So we put the language in.
guys clarifying more than anything or highlighting.
Yeah, well, some would say clarifying, but for the individual that had gone in the first place, he got told no. It was, this made it clear.
Did you happen to it's not a question we've asked yet, but we usually do. Things happen at the end of the session, who knows? Are there some can't live withouts pieces? Did you hear any of that on any of the? I know that my limited time in the committee, which is
I would,
less than the amount of time you spent in this side of the in the house. Are there any? We didn't have a DMV built one year. Or
I,
2 years, I think.
would say, there's probably nothing in here that if it didn't pass, that most people on the street wouldn't. I would say if that, in some form, if the piece is on corrections, it, really is a good thing to do to help the people in corrections. I would say for those people, and there's a fair number of them that are concerned about inspections, that, and particularly for lower income people that are having trouble with in inspections, that it, clearly DMV, after we began to have conversations about this, was very quick to come back, and they clearly had been working on paring down the manual.
All right. Anything else? Representative White?
Thank you. Again, I just have one more question on the flotation devices. And I had a question about the dates, which I think it says that they are required
November through,
November through May 1st.
yes.
And I was questioning whether May 1st was too early. Like thinking about the temperature, for example, in Lake Champlain, end of May may cause hypothermia still. I'm just wondering if you all dug into the dates. or
I think you would want to talk to enforcement, because we do have requirements about flotation devices in the summer. And I might be incorrect about this, but I think this tracks that. But I would encourage you to question law enforcement about that.
On the section 29 related to motorcycle. Did you take any testimony from any of the inspection shops that how the process works with inspection these mufflers and the motorcycles related to how you would identify the federal stamp?
To be absolutely truthful, this language was also passed at least 2 years ago, maybe 3.
That's 66.
And but before my my stay this time in Senate Transportation, and the language in the amendment on this came from the senator from Washington, and the committee before my time had taken a fair amount of testimony on this. So we took testimony from DMV, and then we had the water, there's one individual specifically in a division by himself there. We took testimony from him on this, but we didn't take we did on the we didn't.
Okay. But you had heard it before, is what I gathered.
Yeah, but the committee had definitely had read testimony.
So I didn't realize it. So we shared 3 out of the 5. Is that 3 out of 5, or I don't know the history of the 4 that were in this committee before they arrived in your committee?
Well, let's see. 2 of us were chair in here on our committee. So when I left, Senator Brennan became chair when I left. We all served with you and a few in here.
Representative Senator White now is Representative White. Is that right? Over here, back in, when I first got here.
But she wasn't chair.
No, that's true. She was there. So Senator Harrison and Senator Perchlake didn't have the opportunity to serve in the House Transportation Committee before they got to.
They came, directly from the public to this.
Well,
At least, but three of the five of us all, had come from the House and had served on this committee. And, you know,
it's true.
well, there's a lot of history.
Well, I appreciate you very much coming up. I know that you had mentioned you're just really getting started on the T-bill. We haven't gotten into the inspection piece, which is the biggest piece you highlight, at least what I've seen from you.
That's the biggest piece in here.
I certainly appreciate the opportunity to come down and discuss the T-bill. We're curious to see where that goes. There's certainly still a lot of work. I know that NBUF is involving and a lot of work between now and January 1st when there's been
That definitely will be a piece in, I would, I'm not sure they weighed in with you, but we've been inundated with letters today from the Sierra Club that wasn't favorable to what, is moving through the process.
well, it's been a long-term and pretty well guided through multiple T-bills and it's been discussed and prepped.
I'm just reporting what we're getting for letters now.
It's been a pretty clear path that this has been a progression for multiple years that's come, but it's, we were very concerned when we were in the committee concerned that revenue and that piece is part of a longstanding effort. So we appreciate and look forward to hearing what you do with it. I don't know if there's other comments or questions. Did you have Vast in on the snowmobile fine piece?
Yeah, we did. And gave us a chance to catch up with some old friends.
We're hoping to hear about their big year this year when we bring them in.
Well, when Cindy came in to our committee, she was kind of glowing, which seemed good. It was good. I mean, yeah.
Well, we need it.
It was a good
Big year. So it's nice to have. Any other paths anybody wants to go down?
Thank you all.
I do have one more, sorry.
You can usually count on, I'm sorry.
Back to the fees, the smuggler's notch, those were, I think those fees are now 10 times what they were.
Mhm.
So just curious, any testimony you wanted to share regarding kind of the significant increase in the fees there? It should be.
I have a fairly long history with all of this. The Smuggler's Notch is in my hometown. And when I sat on this committee, the first gates that went up, because in the old days, they used to pull these wooden things that kind of like were maybe kind of a partial wall, and they would pull it up the road and they'd pull it kind of across and the people could drive around. So the first gates that went up on Smuggler's Notch, I was sitting as chair of this committee, and Senator Mazza at the time with the present governor said, no, you can't have any gates up there. But we had gates when we got through, but it's long been an issue, crux in the notch. And the chicanes that have put up have dramatically reduced it. We usually averaged about 9 a year. And if you were on my side of the mountain and you went to dinner in Stowe and you came up and you had to drive the 45 minutes to an hour around, you never were very happy in it. What I will say is the trucking companies that mostly tell their drivers what to do. If you're a young driver or you're somebody that is, this is kind of your first job doing this. The trucking companies generally give somebody a route map and tell them this is the way you're going to travel. So what we were handed were two pieces. One, dramatically increase the fines, which you would pay, but also points on the on their license. We had sympathy on a driver that may be brand new, that being told by their company that you need to do this. We took the fines, we took the points on the license for the driver out of here. If the company that followed Google Maps or wherever they did and told an individual that is driving, that's a new driver, here's what you need to do, and your job is on the line if you don't follow what we tell you what to do. We didn't feel it fair to give them points on the license. But that was the way the bill came to us from DMV. What survived was the fines. I've spent a fair amount of time on this. As the senator from Lamoille, and when for quite a long period of time, the agency wanted the Stowe Police Department to man officers and be up in the notch all the time. It was a burden on some of our local police forces. So we're happy the chicanes are working in this.
And the fines and these kind of large increases are really reflective of the kind of the costs of extricating the truck and the.
Well, there are a lot of costs and there are a lot of things around all of this. When you end up with your local rescue and fire departments up in the notch all night long getting somebody out.
Would be doing, say, rescue and things like that.
You know, there's any number of things, but it has been a burden on both the rescue and fire departments, both in Cambridge and in Stowe.
So what is it? They get stuck in the snow, or are they getting stuck in the turns? I gotta go see this thing. We were just
You
talking
gotta
about.
drive up through.
Once you see it, you'll know.
Yeah.
Are they way up the road? Is that why you have to bring in the emergency vehicles to get them down? They have to back out, or?
They crane them out. They get so caught because it's here in.
Or they cut them out.
They crane.
They have to cut they have to cut them out. And, you
Should
know,
go see
and
it.
some of them have said we should blast the rocks, but if you're, you know, some of us would say, you shouldn't be up there in the first place.
I have a story about that one time. We'll talk about.
Oh, good. I'd like to hear it.
About how that road was.
I'm worried that you're gonna lose all the free PR and press from all the news reports all over the tracks, all the tourists to that notch. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing your work.
You'll see it.
That's what we're afraid of.
Damien, do you want to join us for another 20 minutes, or do you want to survey the crew to see whether or not we're getting out early today? How are we doing?
So I think the next time there's a truck stuck, we should all meet up there and see what they go through to get it out.
The way they're working right now, there's not gonna be one. There's usually one in the early season last year and the year before, and then there wasn't any the next after that, right?
There was, yeah.
But there's only one last year.
I think I double checked. I felt like I heard about.
You know, Stowe could, like,
Yeah.
when the ice is out and.
The Rotary Club did that. The Rotary Club sold tickets, Rotary Club
So
sold
they did
tickets,
sell
yeah.
tickets, one
Yeah,
did stop.
and they stopped a while ago.
Huge moneymaker.
Oh,
Ice out on Joe
Yeah,
Pond.
on Joe, yeah. Is it Joe's farm?
Yeah.
Joe's Pond has a big,
Yeah.
big one on there, so.
Well, now that there's concern about losing PR from less stoppages. But
That's
we could
okay.
propose it as a Jeopardy question. What, where does a truck, where is the fee? $10,000.
How about a trivia?
We're still alive.
What is the word stuckage mean?
Well, yeah, there goes that trivia question.
There you go. It's both people have heard about it. Although it never ceases to amaze me how quickly things come around when I walk out this door. If something's been said that triggers something, there's 3 or 4 people sometimes between there and the cafeteria and whatnot. So whoever the 1 or 2 names, 3 people that are watching and listening, they must have a quick alert action piece that works. Let's see.
On trucks.
Well, not, there we go. One more section.
Yep,
Page 27, huh?
I think so. Let's see. Yes, page 27, 10 pages to go. So,
Today.
we might. K-trucks are, well, for those of you who were out front last Friday, you saw them. They are, K is short for Keiji Dosha, which is Japanese for light duty vehicle. And it's a statutorily defined vehicle under Japanese law. So it can have an engine that is no larger than 660 cc. And the definition that you'll see here for K vehicle meets the Japanese definition. So 4 wheels, no more than 660 cc engine, overall length of no more than 10 feet 10 inches, overall height of no more than 6'6", overall width of no more than 5 feet. The difference between a K vehicle and a K truck is just that a K vehicle can be any one of them: a roadster, a van, a little 4-seat sedan, or a truck. K trucks are just the trucks. What this section would do is it would include in the definition of pleasure car, all K vehicles, and then in the definition of farm truck, either a motor truck or K truck that is registered for farm use. And then section 23 permits K vehicles to be operated in the same manner as pleasure cars or farm trucks based on how they're registered, and prohibits the traffic committee and municipalities from adopting rules and ordinances that would have the effect of prohibiting their use where either a pleasure car or farm truck is permitted to be used, or in a manner that it's permitted to be used. So in other words, if you have a road that's open to vehicle traffic, it has to be open to traffic by K vehicles or K trucks in the same manner as it's open to vehicle traffic. So for example, on Church Street, there are restrictions to early in the morning for deliveries. This would allow K trucks to do the same early morning use, but then be prohibited for the rest of the day with rest of motor vehicles, if that makes sense.
Sorry, Representative McCoy and Representative Crouch.
So we had talked about K vehicles being at least 25 years old or older in order to be registered like a farm vehicle.
The used K vehicles are generally at least 25 years old. That's a federal requirement for importation of a vehicle that doesn't meet the US federal motor vehicle safety standards, or hasn't been certified as meeting them. So this would include also like, if you see an old French sedan on the roads here, it's more than 25 years old because they didn't bother to get it certified under US motor vehicle safety standards, although it may have the same features. It may be able to meet those crash test standards, but it doesn't meet them. With the K vehicles, they they're, again, you're looking at 2001 and older vehicles. So imagine they'll have the same safety features. They may or may not have an airbag. They'll have seat belts. They'll, have basic standard safety. They may not have a crumple zone that would meet US motor vehicle standards,
These are 25 years and older.
25 years and
What about
older.
25 years and younger. Do
If-
they have to have
In order to
airbags?
be brought in, then they have to meet the current or the applicable federal motor vehicle safety standards. So whatever the federal law was to sell a new car in the US at that time, they have to meet that.
So they would be registered as a regular vehicle would be registered, whereas the ones over 25 years from filing against like farm vehicle.
They'll be allowed to be registered like a regular vehicle if they can pass their safety inspection.
Okay.
So they still have to have functioning brakes, headlights, windshield wipers, all the safety issues. They can't have body rust to the point where there's structural harm. But yeah, in order to get around that federal restriction, you have to be older than 25 years.
That big track player,
You might be able to find one.
about 25 years, it's going back a ways.
CDs, come on.
Ouch.
They're outdated now too, aren't they?
Before this, before this, there were some around, right? Was there just confusion about them?
There was confusion, so the DMV testimony was that they were permitted. The testimony from owners was that depending on which DMV location they went to register it, they got different answers. There were also rumors about whether or not there was intent to ban them. And some states have taken steps to prohibit them. Other states permit them. Other states restrict their use to certain scenarios, but not others. So there's a wide variety of regulation. But the committee heard from some owners who had gone to one DMV and gotten the answer that they couldn't register it, then gone to another and it was registered, no problem. So this can be thought of as a clarification because the DMV did say they're not banned under current law as long as they can pass their safety inspection.
And being 25 years old or older, they don't have to meet they can be imported.
Exactly. They can be imported. They're subject to different emissions requirements. It's a visual check. It's not the onboard diagnostic check. So you're making sure they have a functioning muffler attached to the exhaust and a catalytic converter, but you're not looking to make sure all of the computer systems are functioning. Many of them don't have those computer systems. They're, analog, dashboards, pretty simple, basic vehicles.
Were you aware or whether it might be why now? What's different this year versus last year, or any idea what the concept of what's happened? This is here now.
So my understanding is that this proposal came from Senator White. My understanding is that she had a constituent who had experienced getting different answers when trying to register their K-truck, who had contacted her to ask for legislation to clarify their right to have a K-truck. And so that's where this came from. And I think it may just have been that the owner there was finally someone who reached out to their state rep on the issue, or their state senator in this case. I do feel like personally I'm seeing more of them, but I don't think that it's anything to that, or whether it's just the local mix on the roads. They are relatively inexpensive to import. Some of the owners who came in testified that with all import costs and so forth, they were paying under $10,000 for a vehicle with with the features that they were looking for, whether that's a load bed or et cetera.
They're not for sale in a dealership environment or anywhere here. Or is there an advertisement that somebody's saying, I'll bring it in, imported and delivered to you
So there,
at X price?
there are importers in the United States that will import them for you. Some of them have vehicles in stock that they've imported that they think are likely to sell. And then there are exporters in Japan where you can, you serve as your own importer, and they'll deal with the export paperwork, and then you deal with the import paperwork on the US side. But some of the folks who came in said they drove, right down to the dock, put it on a trailer, brought it to Vermont, got it inspected and registered, and titled, and did that. But yeah, driving down to like the Port of New York and New Jersey or something like that to pick it up.
What does giving a designation of farm truck do for it versus
So
not designated it as a farm truck?
farm trucks have a different inspection and registration fee structure. They're also only permitted on the highways when they're in relation to their farm work. So they're hauling produce or something like that for the farm, but they're generally used off-road around the farm to haul equipment, seed, et cetera, around the farm. That's essentially the difference between the designation. It's not a daily highway driving vehicle. If you have a diesel engine, you can put off-road diesel in it, et cetera. So it's a vehicle used primarily for farm work, but it may be on the roads to travel between fields or to haul farm products from the farm to a location nearby.
Did this provision or idea exist before this? Did the K truck could be a farm truck with or without this language?
So based on the department's testimony, yes. It seems like a K truck could be a farm truck without this language. As part of the proposal to draft this was to clarify that it could be either a pleasure car or a farm truck. If you looked at the vehicles at the demo day there, some of them were registered as antiques too. So you're not taking it out as a daily driver. It's an older vehicle, and it's used for, once a week sort of trips, but not for daily transport of persons or property.
There's no new models of these vehicles. They're all,
My understanding, and I couldn't tell you what the models are, but my understanding is that some of them are now becoming available as new models. And I imagine that's a response to the growing popularity of the old models, or what seems to be the growing popularity. So it sounds like some of the new models are now getting certified. I think the biggest challenge with them based on their dimensions is meeting the crash standards for the new federal motor vehicle safety standards. Apparently it's doable, though. There's a California company that's got a short front end truck that has a 14-inch crumple zone to meet the standards. So apparently it's doable, but I don't know more about that, but from what I've heard anecdotally, there are now new vehicles coming on that are meeting the standards and can be sold brand new. So.
Representative Farmer?
Am I allowed to make a comment or?
I was pretty loose about it before. Point in that direction, by all
Okay.
means.
You noted that you've anecdotally seen an increase in K trucks, and I was curious about that. It looks like imports have more than tripled in the past 5 years nationally. So I also experienced that anecdotally, but it does seem like it's a growing trend. I don't know what the Vermont numbers are, but that's pretty significant.
Yeah, I don't have any specific numbers, so it's just.
We don't have an idea of the volume of this nationwide.
I don't. There may
I don't
be
know if there's 5,000, 50,000, or 100,000, or
there may be statistics out there. I didn't hear any testimony with those.
Representative Pouch. and then
Yeah, it
Representative
just seems like, they're pretty inexpensive and they're pretty small. you could maybe tow one behind your bicycle. And if you tow it down, you would have, you know, you'd be like a spare.
Sure.
Hey,
You have stronger legs than me.
Representative Keys?
I don't like,
They work good up here because the parking spaces are pretty small, so that we're already set for them up here. So,
Right.
Other questions or comments or clarifications for these sections?
what?
All right, then I think we'll, starting on home or Vermont motor vehicle inspections, the next time we put you in the chair is a good place for us to